Most action stars fake it. They rely on stunt doubles, camera tricks, and heavy CGI to sell the illusion of action scenes. But Jason Statham, he's built differently, and his every action scene is real. And today, we're breaking down exactly why Jason Statham's fight scenes feel so real. Kicking off the list is the foundation that explains that Jason Statham didn't learn how to fight for movies. He brought real combat training into them. Long before he became a global action star, Statham had already spent years training in multiple combat disciplines, including kickboxing, karate, and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. This wasn't casual training or something picked up for a role, it was part of his lifestyle. Combined with his experience as a competitive diver representing Britain, he developed a rare level of body awareness, coordination, and explosive control. Diving alone requires split-second precision, spatial awareness in mid-air, and the ability to stay calm under pressure, all of which translate directly into fight performance. What makes this so important is how it shows up on screen. Most actors rely heavily on memorized choreography, but Statham doesn't move like that. His strikes flow naturally into each other, his reactions look instinctive rather than rehearsed, and his balance never breaks even during complex sequences. You can see it in the way he shifts his weight, the way he positions his body before a strike, and the way he recovers instantly after impact. That's because he isn't just acting out a fight, he understands the mechanics behind it, and that understanding creates a level of realism that audiences feel instantly, even if they can't explain why. But having real skills is only the beginning. What truly sets him apart is what happens when those skills are put to test on camera. Another proof that Jason Statham doesn't just act in action sequences, he physically lives them. A working man stunt coordinator, Eddie J. Fernandez, tells Cinemovie that Jason Statham performs most of his stunts in movies, including in his current action film directed by David Ayer. The stunt coordinator reveals more behind the scenes of his second collaboration with Ayer and Statham. In an industry where most actors are protected by layers of safety restrictions, stunt doubles, and insurance limitations, Statham consistently pushes himself to stay directly involved in the action. Whether it's executing high-speed driving sequences, engaging in brutal hand-to-hand combat, or performing dangerous physical stunts, he chooses to be present in the moment rather than replaced by a double. This commitment is clearly visible in films like The Transporter and Crank, where the camera often stays on him for extended sequences without cutting away. That alone is a huge indicator of authenticity, because longer takes means there's nowhere to hide. Every movement, every reaction, every impact has to be believable in real time. Directors and stunt coordinators have even noted that working with Statham allows them to design more complex and fluid sequences, simply because they don't have to rely on editing tricks to sell the illusion. The result is action that feels continuous, grounded, and physically demanding. And that's the key difference. When the actor is actually doing the work, the audience doesn't just watch the action, they feel it and love it. Meanwhile, Statham does all his stunts. It isn't possible without perfect fight choreography. At number 3, we step into the core fight of choreography that focuses on realism over spectacle. In many modern action films, fight scenes are designed like performances. They're filled with exaggerated movements, unnecessary flips, and flashy techniques that look impressive but have little connection to real combat. Jason Statham films take a completely different approach. In movies like The Transporter and Hobbs and Shaw, the choreography is built around efficiency and purpose. Every strike is direct, every movement serves a function. There's no wasted motion, no dramatic pauses for effect, just fast, controlled, and intentional action that shows how real fights actually unfold. Now, one of the most noticeable aspects is how he uses his environment. Chairs, walls, doors, and everyday objects become tools in combat, reflecting real-world self-defense strategies where adaptability matters more than style. His movements are tight and controlled, focusing on disabling an opponent quickly rather than putting on a show. This grounded approach changes how the audience experiences the scene. Instead of watching something stylized and distant, you feel like you're witnessing something that could actually happen. The tension increases, the impact feels heavier, and the entire sequence becomes more immersive. Because at the end of the day, realism doesn't just look better, it feels more intense. Now, if you're enjoying this breakdown and want more deep dives into what make action stars truly legends, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because the upcoming proofs will completely change how you look at fight scenes. But if you take a closer look, the real action scenes don't come only from choreography. The next factor proves it's also about how the action is captured. Another thing that quietly shapes the entire viewing experience of Jason Statham's action relies far less on CGI and far more on practical execution. Jason even slammed the use of stunt doubles and computer-generated imager (CGI) in action movies. In today's action-heavy cinema, CGI has become the default solution for creating large-scale destruction, enhancing fight sequences, and even replacing physical stunts entirely. While this allows filmmakers to push visual boundaries, it often comes at the cost of realism. The human eye can sense when something isn't physically grounded, even if it looks impressive. Statham's films, on the other hand, lean heavily into practical effects. Explosions are staged in real environments, physical impacts are performed with real timing, and the camera work is designed to capture action clearly instead of hiding it behind rapid cuts and visual noise. This approach is especially visible in films like The Expendables, where the focus remains on physical performance rather than digital enhancement. The benefit of this approach is subtle but powerful. When the action is real, the weight of every movement carries through the screen. You can sense the danger, the force, and the physical effort involved. There's no artificial smoothness, no exaggerated physics, just raw, grounded motion. And that's why scenes feel different, because when the camera isn't lying, the action doesn't need to. With that, we move forward to the final proof that makes him one of the great action stars in Hollywood. Taking the #1 spot is that Statham's fight scenes rely heavily on long takes with minimal cuts, and that single decision changes everything about how real his action feels. In most modern action films, rapid cuts, shaky camera movements, and tight close-ups are used to create the illusion of intensity. A single punch might be broken into 3 or 4 different shots, stitched together to look powerful, even if the actor never fully executed the movement. This editing style hides imperfections, protects actors who lack real combat training, and allows stunt doubles to seamlessly replace them without the audience noticing. But Jason Statham films deliberately move away from that formula. Instead of hiding the action, the camera often stays wide and steady, allowing entire sequences to play out in real time without interruption. You can clearly see this approach in films like The Mechanic and Safe, where the camera tracks Statham's movement through full combinations of strikes, grapples, and counters. These scenes aren't built through editing, they're performed. Directors and stunt coordinators designed these sequences specifically around his ability to execute extended choreography without breaking rhythm, which is something only a handful of action stars can actually pull off. In fact, longer takes require significantly more rehearsal, physical conditioning, and precision, because a single mistake can ruin the entire shot. There's no safety net in post-production. This technique allows the audience to clearly read the geography of the fight, who's where, how the movement flows, and how each strike connects. That clarity makes every hit feel heavier and more believable, because your brain isn't being manipulated by fast cuts. Instead, it processes the action as continuous physical reality. You're not watching fragments, you're watching a complete exchange unfold in front of you. And that's the ultimate proof of authenticity. And with Jason Statham, that's exactly what you get. Because when the camera doesn't cut away, the truth has nowhere to hide. And that's it. From years of real martial arts training to performing his own stunts, Jason Statham doesn't just play action roles, he lives them. And that's why his fight scenes feel heavier, sharper, and more believable than most. Now, if you enjoyed this video, then stick around with us because our next video is on Keanu Reeves' real mind-blowing stunts. See you there.